I don't know how to ease into this. I'm just going to be blunt, harsh, and come out and say it. Sharife Cooper's career has ended before it's even started. It's over. For me to sit up here and say that I hate it for him, it'd be an understatement. I feel bad for him, and it's unfortunate, but life isn't fair. Sharife Cooper, man, oh man, I love me some Sharife Cooper. Such a nice, great, humble young man, super talented, super skilled at the game of basketball, but unfortunately, I gotta say some not so great things about him today. And before we even get going, before we even get started, let me make this astronomically clear. Any and every single time I say something bad about somebody's game in basketball, for example, I criticize them, I ridicule them, everybody's like, oh man, Matt, you're hating on him. Why are you hating? No, I'm not hating. Hating is if I were to say Sharife Cooper has a big nose and he's ugly. That's hating. But me sitting up here analyzing and critiquing Sharife Cooper on his basketball abilities and his game, that's different. I love the guy. Been keeping up with him ever since he was a 5-star recruit in high school, ever since he was in 9th and 10th grade, and most of y'all know that if you're an OG of the channel. But however, at the end of the day, I gotta do my due diligence and I gotta call it how I see it. I don't care if I like a player. I don't care if it's my favorite team. I don't care if it's my brother. Even if my brother, anybody I'm friends with, they go out there and they have a terrible game, I'm not going to pat him on the back and say, oh yeah, you're doing a good job. No, you play like trash. I got to sit up here and say, you played like trash. I wanted to get that out of the way at the beginning of the video so you get an understanding and a better perspective. Now, with all that being said, let's get into our yearly and annual Sharife Cooper video. Why do I say annual? Well, because it feels like we've made this video every single summer since 2019 or 2020. New Year, same video. And by the way, we're not doing no intro, none of that. We're getting straight into it. I don't got time to waste. You don't got time to waste. It's rather simple, guys. You like the content, consider subscribing. You don't like it, don't subscribe. That's it. I say we get into the nitty and gritty. I don't know how to ease into this. I'm just going to be blunt, harsh, and come out and say it. Sharife Cooper's career has ended before it's even started. It's over. For me to sit up here and say that I hate it for him, it'd be an understatement. I feel bad for him, and it's unfortunate, but life isn't fair. Whoa, 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 hold on. I know what you're sitting there saying. Yo, Matt, what are you talking about? What isn't fair? Well, my friend, that's a great question. I have an even better answer. It's not fair that Mr. Sharife Cooper is one of the most talented and one of the most skilled basketball players I've ever laid my eyes on, and he's not getting a fair shot in the NBA. It's not fair that Sharife Cooper has put in hours and hours and hours of countless blood, sweat, and tears into his craft, and he's never going to be rewarded for it. He'll never be rewarded for it. You can mark it down. I said it last year. I said it 2 years ago. I said it 3 years ago. You can say what you want about me, but if you've been watching videos every single summer, I've kept the same energy. I told you when he left Auburn, terrible choice. He's not going to make it for the Hawks, and everybody criticized me and said, oh yeah, Matt, we'll see. And yeah, you're right. We did see. We saw that I was right. I'm not going to let that slide because everybody critiqued me for saying Sharife Cooper wouldn't make it for the Atlanta Hawks. I tried telling y'all. And then what happens? He goes to a new team and everybody's like, all right, Matt, he's finally got a new shot. And what I tell you last year? No, this isn't a new shot. It's the same story, just a different year, and people can't accept it. Why can't people accept it? Because Sharife Cooper was one of the most beloved high school hoopers of all time. Everybody loved this guy. Nobody hated him, and they respected him so much. He had one of the biggest fan bases coming out of high school. He's a 5-star recruit, and everybody saw how awesome he was against the high school competition. And even at Auburn, he wasn't too bad. Now, his shooting was horrendous, but outside of that, he was great. But, and I have a really big but, Sharife Cooper's game does not translate over to the next level, and everybody with 2 eyeballs can see that. The reason your casuals out here just can't accept that is because they like him, and I get it. Everybody likes Sharife Cooper. They want to see him get a shot, but you have to come to terms with reality. I said it 3 years ago, said it 2 years ago, a year ago, and I'm going to say it now. Sharife Cooper will not make it in the NBA. Sharife Cooper is not an NBA talent. Remember though, I told you only a couple minutes ago, Sharife Cooper is one of the most talented basketball players I've ever laid my eyes on. So I know what you're sitting there saying, okay Matt, you're kind of contradicting yourself, and no I'm not. Hear me out. Sharife Cooper is one of the most talented and one of the most skilled basketball players I've ever seen. However, the NBA doesn't want skilled basketball players, guys. I've said this on the channel for a while now. I think I started about a year and a half ago, and I will continue to say it because it's how you need to look at the NBA when it comes to evaluating talent. Every time you yourself are asking a question, why is this player not getting a shot? I want you to say this phrase in your head. Write it down, memorize it, I don't care, but you need to understand this. The NBA doesn't want skilled basketball players, they want athletes. I'm going to say it again. The NBA doesn't want basketball players. They want athletes. Now, here's the thing. If you're an athlete and you're skilled, that's just a bonus. But for the most part, when it comes to evaluating talent, they want athletes first. If you can shoot, do everything else, it's a bonus. I'm not going to elaborate on that. It's self-explanatory. Just think about it. Do what you want with that information. If Sharife Cooper with this same skill set was 6'7" and had a 42-inch vertical, he'd have been a top 5 pick. But since Sharife Cooper's they got him listed at 6'1", I ain't buying that. Even at Auburn, he was listed at 5'11". But let's just say, since he's 6 foot, he'll never be NBA material. That is one of the only 2 things that's holding him back. I'll get into the second one in just a second. The second one in just a second, that sounds weird, but yeah, you get what I'm saying. With all of that being said, I know some of you probably have no idea where Sharife Cooper currently is because he's not playing for the Hawks, and that's correct. He is playing for the Cleveland Cavaliers G League team. That's where he played last year. And he was awesome for the G League team. I'll show you his numbers right here. And by the way, if you go to his Instagram, all everybody's saying is, man, how come this dude ain't getting a shot? Why won't they give him a shot? And blah, 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 blah. And by the way, to give you some more context, last year he was named to the second team all G League team. He wasn't first team, but he was second team. So he was good. And all the fans are pointing to, and I've had a couple people send me this, is, Matt, how come he's not getting a shot? He's averaging 21.3 points per game. And you're right, he is averaging 21 points per game. You're 100% right. That's a cold hard fact, and you know I like my cold hard facts. But also, here's what you need to throw in there that nobody else is talking about. Because all these casuals out here, they don't understand it. They just look at Sharife Cooper averaging 21 points per game and they go, okay, this dude's getting robbed. He needs a shot. No, he doesn't need a shot. He's not getting robbed. He's right where he's supposed to be, in the G League. Because here's the number I'm going to circle and emphasize. His 3-point percentage is 31.6% in the G League. 31.6%, guys? That's awful. If he was a small forward or a power forward or a center, nah, you'd take it. But a point guard? You can't take that. And it goes hand in hand. The 2 things that have held him back all throughout his career up until this point is his shooting and his size. And the problem is, if you are going to be only 6 foot and undersized, the only way, and I'm talking about the only way you can make up for it, is your shooting abilities. Even with Steph Curry, we saw it in the finals a couple years ago. He was a liability on defense, and Curry's 6'3". But Curry is so lethal when it comes to shooting the basketball, it somewhat makes up for it. But if you're only shooting 31.6% behind the arc, no, it doesn't make up for it. You could put Sharife Cooper on any team in the NBA. He would not help them. Basketball is more than this stat line right here, 21.3 points per game. That's all these casuals look at. And I get it. We said this a couple of days ago. When you get done playing your middle school or high school game, or if some of y'all play college ball, what does your girlfriend, mom, dad, everybody say? Hey man, how many points you score? It's what everybody says because that's what we care about. But real ball players know this. There's way more to the game. There's way more to the game. Way more, way more, way more. And these NBA teams know it, and I hate to say it, but Sharife Cooper ain't helping an NBA team. He's not. But I know what some of you are sitting there saying, well, okay, Matt, yeah, his 3-point percentage, it's not great, but is that it? Is that the only reason you're kind of knocking him? And no, it's not. Another thing that is extremely concerning is his assist to turnover ratio has gotten worse. In 2021 through 2022, his assists, 7.3 per game, and he only had, well, not only is a lot, but you get what I'm saying, he had 3.7 turnovers. So roughly his assist to turnover ratio was about, what is that, 1.7? Well, then in 2022, 2023, his assists dropped nearly by 1 whole total point, and his turnovers went up. That's not what you like to see, guys. That's not what you like to see at all. I'm not even too concerned with the 6.4 assist to 4 turnover ratio. I mean, it's not great, but here's what I'm concerned about. It's getting worse. And by the way, this is in the G League. Yeah, it's not good. And also, as much as people ridiculed him for only shooting 37% in 2021 through 2022, he shot worse in 2022 from 2023. His 3-point percentage went down a whole 5%, guys. So all these people saying, why isn't he getting a shot? The NBA's robbing him. They're blackballing him. Why is he not getting a shot? Blah, 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 blah. Here's your answer. Whether you want to accept these answers or not, that's up to you. I don't care. I'm just here to tell you the cold hard facts and the truth. Men lie, women lie, but guess what? These numbers, they never lie. When you are a defensive liability and you don't make up for it on the offensive end, you're not an NBA talent. Not in today's modern age. I want y'all to take a look at this, by the way. I thought this was interesting. You see right here, they got him listed at 6'1". We'll give him the benefit of the doubt. But he's only 176 pounds? Do y'all understand how small that is? 175? The dude's a pipsqueak. Look, man, I don't know how you can defend this. Being only 6'1", 176, Defensive liability. He's a weenie hut junior. I personally think even Curry might be able to bully this dude. Guess what though? If y'all don't want to take my word for it, that's cool. I know some of you might not want to. I found an article that was written about Sharife Cooper, about the Cleveland G League team, and keep in mind, this article is supposed to be having his back. They're supposed to be praising him, and check this out. In this article it states, regardless of the success Cooper has had, there are valid concerns about his game that have kept him from latching onto an NBA roster despite being a second-round pick on a two-way deal with the Atlanta Hawks last season. There just isn't a big market for 6'1" score-first point guards who aren't great playmakers and don't have the tools to be good defenders. Yet again, those aren't my words. That's coming from an article from his own team. They tell you right there, plain and simple, there's not a big market for 6'1" point guards who ain't great playmakers and don't have the tools to be good defenders. And I'll also show you this quote from Sharife Cooper because I did find it interesting. This was in response to people saying he has a turnover problem. I don't get too caught up in what naysayers are saying. 9 times out of 10, they don't watch basketball. They're looking at a stat sheet and judging off of that. It is what it is. Is he calling me out? Because that's what we've done in this video. We've looked at his stat sheet. I don't know. I understand what he's saying though, because there's a bunch of nerds out here who only look at the stat sheet. Y'all know me. I don't really care about the stats too much, but the numbers never lie and they do give you somewhat of a perspective. What Sharife Cooper says right here though doesn't apply to me because I've been watching him ever since high school. It's such a weird concept and situation because I'll tell you guys yet again, he's one of the most skilled basketball players I've ever seen. He's unreal. His IQ's off the chart, and if he was 6'7", 225 at a 40-inch vertical, he'd be a star in the NBA. But with his size, his slightly turnover problems that I think he can fix, and his terrible shooting, he'll never make it. As a matter of fact, let me give you a better example and a better perspective. I'm going to use Mac McClung, aka the G League MVP. Last year, Mac McClung averaged 19.8 points per game, shot 55% from the overall field, and shot 47.4% from the three-point line. Averaged 5 assists per game to only 1.5 turnovers. Not too bad. Very solid stat line, and you can see why some other NBA teams are giving him some interest. Well, think about this. Mac McClung shot 48% nearly from the three-point line, and he can't even get a shot in the NBA. And Matt McClung's listed at 6'2", about 185, 190. And Matt McClung is way more athletic than Sharife Cooper. If Matt McClung can't even get a legit shot in the NBA, that should tell you everything you need to know about Sharife Cooper and as to why he's not. Matt McClung is 2 times the player Sharife Cooper currently is. He is, and if you don't want to take my word for it, just look at the numbers. Sharife Cooper shot 31.6% from the three-point line, and Matt McClung shot 47.4%. Matt McClung is an athletic specimen, and Sharife Cooper is not. The people that think Sharife Cooper should even have a shot at the NBA currently, they don't know basketball. And I'm going to toot my own horn. You know what? I am. Because the past 3 years, I've told you guys Sharife Cooper ain't an NBA player, and I've been criticized for it. Well, guess what? Who's right? There's a reason Sharife Cooper ain't been called up. He ain't good enough. It's harsh words, but it's the truth. The truth hurts. The real argument we should be having is, why isn't Matt McClung getting a real shot at the NBA? That's a real conversation we need to be having. We shouldn't even made a video on Sharife Cooper. And yet again, I like Sharife Cooper. Wishing you the best of luck. I hope he turns things around. But what do you expect? Do y'all want me to come up here and say he deserves a shot at the league when he's shooting 31% from the three-point line and he's 6 foot and he's not athletic and he can't play defense? And I was kind of hopeful last year. I was like, you know what? If he keeps playing in the G League, maybe he increases his three-point percentage and he fixes the turnover problem. But at this point in time, it's only gotten worse. Why am I supposed to even believe that he's going to increase his three-point percentage from 31.6% to nearly 45? Because that's the bare minimum. If Cooper wants to play in the NBA, and I'm not just talking about some bench minutes, if he wants to get at least 10 minutes a game, he's going to have to shoot 50% from the three-point line in the G League. And even that, with his defensive liability self, might not be enough. I'm very confident in this next statement. I do believe his NBA career, it's over. It ended before it started. It sucks, man, but if you can't shoot, can't play defense, and you're not athletic, you're not cut out for the NBA. Not in 2023. That's how I really feel about it. It really is. Do what you want with all this information. Let me know your thoughts down below. But